Elizabeth, what are you doing here?
I've been formally asked to witness your triumph, my dear. After all, isn't it the natural role of a woman to support her man in victory?
But it's you who insisted I join the Ascalon.
Please forgive my giddiness. I'm just overcome by the thrill of finally being allowed within these hallowed halls.
You certainly have an inquisitive mind. It's quite something. Elizabeth Ashbury, only you can make me smile in these difficult times.
And the same to you, Jonathan Reed. Now go have your little chat with the chairman. I can see he's practically bursting to hear your report.
I have a boat ready to go whenever I want. These hunters won't catch me.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Have a drink and enjoy this night, for it could be our last.
Welcome back to the Ascalon Club, Lance-Bearer. Please tell us the good news. Have you put an end to the epidemic?
My hypothesis was correct. Doris Fletcher was the source of the contagion in this part of town. She was probably the first to be infected.
And you cleansed her before the hunters, I've been told. Well done, Dr. Reed. You thrust your lance and pierced the very heart of the corruption.
But some questions remain.
The important thing is, we won a major battle for the survival of London. For that, we salute you.
Thank you, my lord.
Now, I have another task for you. One of the utmost importance. Perhaps even more so than the previous.
I'm listening.
It's time for you to perform a most sacred duty for the club. I want you to recruit a new vampire.
Recruit a new vampire? Are you sending me on some sort of diplomatic mission?
Not exactly. I want you to make Aloysius Dawson the Ekon he deserves to be.
As you wish, my lord.
Good. Now go.
How would you like me to proceed?
Aloysius is waiting for you at the Dawson estate. Once the deed is done, I'll join you there to celebrate this momentous occasion.
Before I go, I have a few questions.
All right, I'm listening.
Why Aloysius Dawson?
Because he is about to die, and he just may be the most influential man in England. After me, of course.
Did he choose me?
No, I did. My decision is very recent, to say the least, but it is entirely mine.
Does he know I'm coming?
He can't wait to become your progeny, Dr. Reed. Especially now that you have shown how strong your lineage is through your sister.
You invited Lady Ashbury. Wouldn't that be breaking one of your cardinal rules? No women allowed.
Not allowed as members, no. But considering the circumstances, I thought you'd like to have her here to witness your triumph.
So it's a temporary admittance, then.
Something of a bargain, considering the crisis we're currently facing.
How would you like me to proceed?
Don't worry. Aloysius has had many years to prepare himself. He has studied our kind for decades.
So shall I just let him drink my blood?
Yes. Aloysius will gratefully sup on your blood. His heart will slow, then stop, but he will rise again as one of us, an immortal.
Is there any danger?
Our blood alters a mortal body so deeply that some don't survive the metamorphosis. They die for good. But Mr. Dawson has been preparing himself for a long time.
Goodbye, Lord Redgrave.
Are you all right, Jonathan?
Lord Redgrave has just ordered me to turn Aloysius Dawson, to make him my progeny.
I see. And how do you feel about this?
I'd like your advice on the matter.
The real question here is, why has his lordship given you this task?
Do you think it's some sort of trap?
Do you really want to know what I think about this?
I do, yes.
To make an immortal of a soulless blackguard like Aloysius Dawson will only lead to a disaster for London. The man is already dead inside.
Should I refuse? Perhaps politely suggest that Lord Redgrave turn the man into a vampire himself.
Don't you dare, my dear. According to what I've recently discovered, his lordship could kill you for even broaching the subject.
Really? Why?
I've recently found proof that the Earl of Bristol is of lesser lineage and only capable of creating skulls.
Please tell me more about your recent investigation.
As long as you lower your voice.
What would you have me do about Dawson?
The man is dangerous. Did you know he plans to build a wall to separate the healthy rich from the sickly poor? Do not make him your progeny.
What would you do?
The man's dying already. Let the reaper harvest the rotten fruit that is his soul.
What would happen if I made Dawson an Ekon like myself?
You would add a powerful immortal into a suffering world. An immortal who already craves authority.
Maybe I could teach him control, like you taught me. Lead him down the right path.
Mr. Dawson spent his life searching for a way to cheat death. I'm sure he has spent decades dreaming of how he'd spend eternity as a tyrant.
Are you sure your information about Redgrave is correct? He says he's the progeny of the great knight William Marshall, who lived some 9 centuries ago.
That's a lie. Lord Redgrave is unable to create anything but skulls, if the poor souls survive at all.
How can you be sure the information was correct?
I made the acquaintance of a most interesting informer while investigating your maker, from whom I learned the truth about Lord Redgrave.
Why so vindictive? You suddenly sound like you're angry.
Forgive me, Jonathan. I hate myself for it, but I feel such pride in my discovery. I'm afraid I just can't help it.
Which is?
He did serve William Marshall. And yes, the blood he covets as a token does truly belong to that legendary knight. But he was never his progeny. His lineage is not so noble.
Goodbye for now, Elizabeth.
Goodbye, my dear. Please, be careful.
It looks like vampires have to obey Mendel's laws when producing progeny. Powers pass from one generation to another. That's why Dawson wants me to sire him.
Are you deaf? See them fancy clothes? This one's a top. Weapons ready. Don't lie, he's done for. Sorry, sir. No admittance. We have to stop it!
It's locked. Is there anything you could tell me about Aloysius Dawson?
Aloysius Dawson? Yes, of course. We met on several occasions. With time, he got deeper and deeper into the occult.
He's not the only one. It's been quite the fashion for several decades. The Golden Dawn, for instance, is just one example.
True. Aloysius was a member of the Golden Dawn until 1900. Then his thirst for dark knowledge grew. I'm talking forbidden texts, readings which blackened his heart.
Goodbye, sir. Until we meet again.
I rarely wander, yet it amuses me to converse with your kind. Cards never lie, but they are never easy to read.
Good evening. What can you tell me about Aloysius Dawson?
I've heard this is a man who has searched for his place in the world for a long time. I hope he found it.
Goodbye, Mr. Baker.
Spanish flu is not the only hidden... Doctor?
Do you know anything in particular about a man called Aloysius Dawson?
Who doesn't know the man? I think he intervened personally to put an end to the police strike of last August.
What else can you tell me about him?
Aloysius Dawson is exactly the kind of powerful and influential man who could commit murder and get away with it, with just one phone call.
What are you investigating?
Well,
Why do I don't think... Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hello again.
What can you tell me about Aloysius Dawson?
You should ask that question to my brother instead. Personally, I've not seen Aloysius for many years.
Goodbye.
Dr. Reed, I am glad.
It's locked, all right. Good evening, Miss...
You know you...
Do you know Aloysius Dawson?
Everybody knows him. He's only been to my shop once, though, looking for rare books and other intriguing antiques.
Did he buy something from you?
No, he left quickly. He almost laughed at my goods. Mr. Dawson may be a rich man, but you can't buy good manners.
But isn't Aloysius Dawson known for his philanthropy?
That was before his brother Robert died in an aeroplane crash. Since then, the remaining twin has turned into a heartless tycoon.
Goodbye for now, Miss Price.
Dr. Reed, I am glad to see you again.
Dawson's mansion. Here I am at last. But the question remains, am I ready to make a dying man my progeny?
Finally, you're here, Dr. Reed. What took you so long?
I had to pass several of your barricades and outposts to access your mansion, sir.
Death, pestilence surround us, and time is against me.
I see you've gathered some of the most expensive, albeit experimental, blood transfusion equipment available. All this could be so useful in a hospital.
Yes, yes. Since Lord Redgrave sent me a doctor to perform my conversion, I thought you might find some of these devices useful.
Most thoughtful. But tonight I'm not here as a physician.
But I feel reassured that a specialist such as yourself would help me to escape the Reaper.
Very well. But before I proceed, I have a few questions for you.
If you must, but be quick, for I don't have much time left in this life.
First of all, I need to be sure that you know exactly what is going to happen to you, sir.
I can assure you I'm as informed as any man can be. I have planned for this moment, Dr. Reed. Planned very carefully.
Sir, I'm going to end your life. Do you not wish to discuss the procedure for even a minute?
I don't have a minute to indulge in idle chatter. I can't feel my legs, and the cold, so cold.
I will become your maker. Do you understand what that means?
Well, I certainly won't consider you my liege, or some such drivel. You can be assured of that.
You'll need to feed on warm blood. Blood from mortals. How do you feel about that?
I'm rich, Dr. Reed, and powerful. I'm sure I'll be able to acquire all the blood I need without ever having to sully my own hands.
What do you know about the Guard of Priwen?
What I do know is that I'll crush anyone or anything that would dare to oppose me.
Let's move on then.
Please, I'm cold and tired. I feel my life waning with every moment.
But first, before you embrace immortality, what would you do with such a gift?
That's a rather impertinent question, Dr. Reed, and I will do as I please.
Answer me all the same. What will your first action be as an immortal?
To save London. I will finance the most efficient quarantine ever seen. I will build a wall that will separate the sick boroughs from the healthy ones.
Who gave you the right to decide the fate of thousands of people?
My money. My money and my pending immortality gives me the needed authority, Doctor. I'm a businessman. I'm used to tough decisions.
You really plan to build a quarantine wall across London?
Yes, it will be tall and strong, separating the wheat from the chaff.
Let me guess. You mean to isolate the rich from the poor?
This is a desperate measure for desperate times. England must prevail, Doctor, no matter the cost.
By doing so, you will also create two separate prisons.
Come, sir. An eminent doctor like yourself knows that such radical measures have proved efficient in the past.
Quarantine is not a bad idea, medically speaking, but I'm convinced this epidemic will not be contained by mere walls.
As long as the right people are on the right side of the wall, that's all that matters.
But you can't guarantee infection will not spread. Just one contagious carrier would be enough to create an apocalypse.
The apocalypse is already knocking at the gate. We must be strong now.
What if a new outbreak happens inside your walls? You'll have created a giant trap.
That won't happen, as long as we dispose of anyone that is contaminated as soon as they are spotted.
I've heard enough. It's time to proceed.
At last. All right, do what you have to do. If it hurts, so be it. I've been preparing such a long time for this.
Are you ready for immortality, Mr. Dawson? Drink Now, and say farewell to life as you prepare to be reborn.
What do you mean, drink? What about the blood transfusion?
I'm the doctor and the vampire here, so I'll give the orders. Drink, sir. Now.
All right.
Good. That's enough. That's enough, I said.
I will not die. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Oh, no. You will die, sir. Steel yourself. You're already in death's grip. Reduced in rank for falsely accusing a man of murder. I wonder what Inspector Albright thinks about his punishment.
Is it done, Dr. Reed? Is Aloysius Dawson reborn, as expected?
Yes, my lord. Ascalon has a new recruit, as you ordered.
Wonderful news. I've waited for this outcome for so long. Tonight you served your country, the king himself, beyond all expectation.
Thank you, my lord.
No, thank you, Dr. Reed. Now, could you do me one last favor?
Of course. What is it?
Go outside and talk with that disgusting creature I saw waiting for you in front of this mansion.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'll have a look.
Good. I didn't kill her on the spot, for she claims to be a friend of yours. But don't you dare bring such a creature near me again.
We meet again at the strangest of times, young Ekon. So do you serve the Earl of Bristol now?
Old Bridget. What are you doing here?
Your friend, the wise Ekon. She sent me to warn you.
Did anyone see you? It's a long way from the dock sewers, and hunters are patrolling the streets here.
Who said I took the streets? How do you think I survived for centuries in this city without ever being seen? I know all her secrets.
How did you meet Lady Ashbury?
She came to us in the sewers in search of answers, just as you did.
What kind of answers did you give her?
I knew nothing of your maker, but we talked. We talked a lot. Her words and ideas are captivating. It is no surprise that you like her. I like her too.
Lady Ashbury in the sewers? Now that's a sight I wish I'd seen.
She said she was your friend, and that she sought the identity of your maker. So I answered her questions.
Lady Ashbury? You know her? Tell me what's going on.
The lady approached me but a few nights ago, wanting to meet the sewer skulls. Once she questioned Harriet Jones. She agreed to help us.
Harriet Jones is still with you then? How is she doing?
Harriet remains angry, but is recovering slowly. Her mind is twisted, but at least her body is healing.
Tell me what is going on.
The lady asked us to keep an eye on your mortal doctor friend while you were away. We spotted the hunters. They were discussing plans to attack tonight.
Wait, slow down. I need to ask you something.
I'm listening, but I do not have time to waste, so be quick.
Where is Lady Ashbury right now?
She said she will go home. She needed to speak with some old friends first, though. Do not worry, young Ekon. She is no fool, and just as strong as you.
Why do I feel like Lord Redgrave was particularly irritated to see you? Far more so than the average Skull, if I may say.
Because I used to know him quite well, and he is afraid I may remember who he really is.
You're Elizabeth's informant. You're the one who told her about Lord Redgrave's lies regarding his lineage.
Yes, but my words were not meant to hurt or threaten. I simply told the story of the sewer skulls, and of so many other forgotten children.
How did Elizabeth find you?
She presented herself humbly at our gate, and asked if we knew of any ancestral vampires hiding in London. She asked about Ascalon. She asked about many things.
Why did she come to you?
I am old Bridget, the buried memory of the city. She sought the silent truths, truths I have kept hidden for so long.
What do you think of her?
Her soul is good, yet tainted with a deep sadness and the scars of ancient wounds. Time does that to us immortals, for we have so much to dwell upon.
No time to lose, then. I must go there right away.
I shall return to my den. Have you a message for the lady? Should I see her before you?
Tell her I worry about her.
Do not, for she has had strength and wisdom for so much longer than you. Go now and take care, young Ekon, for the flames are rising.
I
was lucky enough to...
Why do I
don't think so. Is it true you were dropped in rank? Tell me about it.
Yes, it is. I made a terrible mistake. I deserved it. Sometimes I think I should have resigned.
So why are you still working here?
Because I'm a damn fine copper. I just don't want to have someone innocent hung again by mistake because of me.
The death penalty is a great shame.
I agree. I'm convinced all civilized nations should abolish the death penalty. Maybe after the war, once that bloodshed is over, the survivors will change that.
Why do you think there shouldn't be a death penalty?
I believe no one should decide to take a man's life. Not a nation or a government.
Are you a pacifist, Inspector?
No, sir. But I believe in divine justice. Only God has the right to decide who will live and who must die.
Goodbye, Detective Inspector Albright.
Goodbye, Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm sure we'll talk again soon. Seems violence and madness are now contagious.
Stupid newborn! Gotcha!
Hello again.
Jonathan!
Do you need my...
Oh.
I think you should take this. You'll feel...
I'm not sure.
Goodbye, Mother.
Goodbye, son.
Yes?
Do you need
I won't.
Here is your prescription. You'll feel better soon enough.
Thank you very much, sir.
Goodbye.
Of course.
Good evening.
Have you any news on Aloysius Dawson?
I heard he intends to build some sort of wall. Has he gone mad? Walls are prisons for the mind. And we are a free-thinking nation.
Do you need medical help?
You would save my...
Don't worry. There is nothing serious to fear. I have seen far worse, I can assure you.
I cannot imagine the pain these people...
Goodbye. Good evening, Miss Ashby.
And good evening.
Do you need my...
Indeed.
Oh, you cannot imagine how relieved
My mother once told me the same thing.
Goodbye.
She's been quite...
Good evening.
I won't
Do you need medical...
It's a little...
What can I say?
I hope we're talking about...
You need some... Good evening.
Good evening.
Do you need...
Don't believe...
There is no need to be ashamed.
Yes.
Goodbye, Mr. Hello, Venus.
Hello, Jonathan. I'm so sorry for your loss, Jonathan. What do you...
Do you need my...
It would appear...
And I'm happy to give it to you.
Thank you. You know that you are always welcome here. But at this hour...
Can I help you?
Yes.
I will take that.
Make it stop.
I must go.
Support the equality between men and women.
Over there! You feeble!
Hello again, Doctor.
Do you need my...
Indeed.
You have nothing.
Sounds so easy to...
Goodbye for now.
Hello again.
Goodbye. Good evening. Do you need my...
I'm afraid...
I don't want...
Says the doctor.
Goodbye.
Dr. Reed.
Do you need...
I'm afraid...
You'll quickly...
Thank you.
Goodbye, Detective.
Goodbye. Spanish flu is not the only hidden killer around here.
Good morning.
Good evening.
My mother always...
Do you need my...
Oh, please.
Don't be shy.
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye, Carol.
Dr. Reed, I am glad to see you again.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You know...
Do you need my...
Oh, yes.
I'm just doing my job.
Perhaps.
Goodbye.
Dr. Reed, I am glad to see you again.
Good evening.
Do you recall... You'll feel better after taking this.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye, sir.
I rarely... Perhaps London will survive the epidemic. But I see terrible trials awaiting in the future.
You look ill. Well, there you have it.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Good evening.
I'm afraid...
You don't seem...
Oh...
I can try...
The war destroyed...
A gun? How are you?
I'm not your...
Do you need assistance?
Please.
There you go.
Very funny.
Goodbye. Good evening.
Wang Sang.
How do you feel?
I don't...
You should recover.
Thank you, Doctor.
Goodbye. Good evening.
Sure.
How do you feel?
I would not.
Yes, you do.
I said I don't.
Goodbye. Good evening, Harry.
Sure. Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
So,
I'm not bothered.
do you need it?
Yes, I do.
You'll feel...
I'm not sure I'm happy with the idea of living long.
Goodbye, young.
Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
You...
Can I offer?
Keep you...
There is a thin...
All right.
Goodbye.
Fancy
You never...
please, I don't have your money.
Do you need help, sir?
To be honest, I'd prefer you take a look at my stuff. I'd rather be rich and sick than the contrary.
I don't quite...
Really?
Goodbye. Good evening.
It's for
Don't you...
faith.
No doubt.
Blessed be your generosity.
I have heard it. Good evening.
Change
Do you need any...
it.
I am sure...
Forgive me.
Goodbye, miss.
Good evening.
Do you need...
I would be...
If you...
Thank you, sir.
Good... Good evening.
And good evening.
Do you need...
It may...
I understand.
The nutrition of my mouth.
I'll leave...
Don't you know better?
Good evening, Mr.
Is it you?
What kind of gentleman pays visits to people at this late hour?
What can I do?
You seem
Actually...
Yes.
Thank you, Doctor.
Goodbye, Mr. What kind of gentleman pays visits to people at this late hour? London's brought so much pain.
Good evening, Miss.
Hello again.
Can I offer you?
Kvinno.
Perhaps I... Can I...
As long as you have money.
Welcome back. Do you need... Indeed. Oh, thank... Goodbye, I should have offered a drink to the boy.
You still what?
He cursed. Do you require...
Don't feel...
Take them.
Tom always said we got to...
Goodbye, Good evening.
Yeah.
Do you require... I don't...
And is it your...
Goodbye,
Flesh and blood.
Good evening, Mrs. Fitz.
Of course. Please don't stay too long, sir.
It's locked, all right. It's locked.
What can I do for you?
Mrs. Fitz...
I am afraid...
Then let...
I think...
Goodbye.
Just grow eyes in the back of that head.
Good evening. Good evening. Do you need... No.
Well, thank you.
Good.
Once the epidemic.
Good evening.
Doctor!
Do you need my... Treating a vampire...
Thank you, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye. Good evening.
Are you sure?
Do you need...
Death by...
Well...
You have a strange sense of humor, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Miss... Good evening, Miss Jones.
Of course.
Do you require...
I'm glad...
I'll try...
Thank you, Doctor.
Goodbye. Good evening.
There's no need...
Young man.
I don't...
There's no...
Thank you.
Goodbye.